What's up, bro? How you doing? Yeah, I'm looking forward to the group ride this weekend. You? Nice, nice. Yeah, can't wait, man. So what's up? You got a new diet? Cool, cool. You're losing weight and you're going faster on the bike? How's that even possible? Well, what's this diet? 30 bananas a day. I've never even heard of it. A durian rider? All right. So what? So you just what? What do? You eat 30 bananas a day? That's it? Only 30 bananas a day and you eat nothing else. And it works? You're saying this works. You're going faster and you're losing weight. Okay. I'm gonna get you say it works, bro. I'll give it a shot. All right, man. Thanks for letting me know. I'm gonna try it out. Starting now. Cool. All right. See you, buddy. Help! He said 30 bananas a day, not 30 dumps a day. Oh my God, why do I do this? This is crazy. I think there's blood. Let's get into the video. That was kind of funny, wasn't it? All right, this is going to be a different type of video because we're talking about something really serious today. What we're going to do in this video today is the obesity epidemic, my advice on how to lose weight, what worked for me, and how it affects cycling. Power to weight ratio, losing weight, how does it help you? Is it important? How important it is? All that good stuff. $73 billion every year people are spending on weight loss products, surgeries, you name it. That's a lot of money. 40% of all men in North America from the ages of 20 to 39 are obese. 46% of men 40 years old to 59 years old are obese. That's a lot. That's almost half. We're getting 300,000 people a year dying directly from obesity related issues. You take heart disease, 655,000 people are dying a year. There would be a lot less people with heart disease if they weren't overweight. That's over 1 million people a year dying that could be reduced dramatically if they were able to get their weight under control. And that's what makes it so sad. I've went from 230 pounds, 240 pounds, down to I'm about 165 now. It's taken me over 5 years, and the last 2 years, I've been able to keep the weight off. And up until the last 2 years, my weight has been a yo-yo. I remember when I was in grade 9, about 14, 15 years old, I started running because I was getting called fat every day at school. And if you don't know what that's like, it's really bad. It just does not make you feel good. And that sticks with you for the rest of your life. Even today, there are times where I feel like I'm the big guy because it's just so implanted in your brain. And I don't know if I'm explaining that properly, and I'm gonna try. When I'm on a ride and someone says, hey, you look like Skeletor, or hey, you're so lean, man, the first thought that pops into my head is, why are you lying? Why are you lying to me? Why are you telling me I look skinny? I'm not skinny. I've been told I was fat my whole life. And when you're walking through the halls of high school and someone you don't know points at you and says, hey, you fat asshole, look at this fat guy, and that happens to you over and over again, it leaves scars. And I'm not saying, hey, poor me, cry me a river. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, this is a serious problem. It's an epidemic. And in this video, I'm not going to try and say I got the answers. I don't have the answers. But what I will tell you is what worked for me and what helped me keep the weight off over the last 2 years. There's a couple things, principles that I implemented that I stuck by, and they were simple and they helped me, and I wish I did it years ago. This is what would happen to me. Look at myself and I would say, okay, I'm 190 pounds and I can do 400 watts. If I could get down to 160 pounds, I could do this. I could win this race. I could get this KOM. These are the thoughts that were in my head. So I'm like, I gotta lose 30 pounds. The race season's coming and I gotta lose it in the next 3 to 4 months. The diet would start, I would undereat, I would see the weight come off quickly. But then my hunger would go up and the weight loss would come down. I'm weighing myself twice a day, which is crazy. And as I said, hunger goes up, weight loss comes down. And what happens at every time, and this happened to me at least 50 times over my life, I would get to the point where I was so hungry, but the weight wasn't coming off, and then just my body took over. And it forced me to eat and I couldn't stop eating. And I would gain all the weight back that I lost, plus some. Then I would feel guilty and I would start the process over and it would just go and I would yo-yo back and forth. That's what would happen. So my first principle that helped me lose the weight was to not get too hungry and not get too full. If I get to the point where I'm obsessing about food and I'm like, okay, on Sunday I'm gonna eat, it's gonna be so great, that's a red flag. Even if I'm out on my ride during the day and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get home and eat dinner, I know I gotta am I too hungry that I'm fantasizing about food, or am I using food as a crutch? I gotta stop one or the other. Most likely right now, because I ride so much, I'm using food as a crutch. So I go, no. Let's look forward to something else. Principle number 2, and this helped me dramatically, don't gain weight. If I lose 3 pounds, great, hold. And if I gotta hold for a month and then lose another pound, great. And it'll eventually come off. But if I make the goal of don't gain any weight, it's much easier than trying to lose 10 pounds. That just made so much more sense to me. I was like, okay, I can do that. I can not gain weight. And maybe I'll lose a pound next week. Maybe I'll lose 2 pounds next month. If something happens, holidays come, whatever, and I gain 3 pounds, I gotta lose it immediately. I can't gain weight. This brings us into principle number 3. If you get down to 170 pounds and you hold your 170 pounds for 6 months to a year, your body wants to stay that weight. So I use these principles. Don't get too hungry. Don't get too full. Principle number 1. Principle number 2. I forgot it now. How did I forget it? Principle number 2, don't gain weight. Number 3, your body will hold a certain weight and you want to get the weight down and then hold it there as long as you can. And that's why it connects with principle number 2, don't gain any weight. So if I'm consistently lowering my body weight, even if it's a pound here or a pound there, and I don't go up, I'm teaching my body to be this new weight. Let's say I was at 190 pounds and I diet down to 175. When I get down to 175 pounds, I am on the limit. As soon as I go, okay, I'm gonna have that cookie. I'm gonna have that. Okay, don't worry. Weight's coming right back on. But when your body gets used to that weight, you can have that cookie. You can have that piece of cake and go, okay, next day, great. We'll tighten up the diet. And this is the other big mistake that I made is I would do all these crazy diets. I would do vegan. I would do carbs. I would do no carbs. I would do meat, no meat, only vegetables, only fruit. And I found that restricted me. And what's important is if you have a craving for nuts, have a nut, because satiation is what stops that hunger. And if I want some nuts, I want a cookie, have a bite of a cookie. You don't need a whole cookie, have a piece. Okay, good. You got that taste of the cookie? Great. You want a little piece of cake? Great. Have a little piece. Just don't eat 3 slices. Don't eat a bag of cookies. So I found restricting certain foods stopped the satiation. And then once I said, okay, well, if I want a cookie, it's not a big deal. It's not hitting my total calories for the day. Well, half a cookie's not a big deal. Just have a half cookie. And then I found myself being more satiated. So what I did to lose 20 pounds recently, I did intermittent fasting. It worked great for me. I don't want to go too much in the details. It's all over the internet. Intermittent fasting worked great for me, and it works good for some people, not for other people. You need to find what works for you, but it worked for me. Once I lost that 25 pounds, it brought my cycling to another level. I went from being a crappy guy to being at the front of every group ride. And it was losing that weight. So now we're getting into power versus weight ratio cycling. And I'm gonna go over some quick numbers. Let's say you do 400 watts at 75 kilos. That's 5.3 watts per kilo. Now, let's say you're 22 pounds lighter, you're 65 kilos. To do that same watts per kilo, 5.3, you only need to do 345 watts. That's a 55 watt difference. Now, if we drop that down to 350 watts at 75 kilos, that's 4.7 watts per kilo. The 65 kilo person is only doing 305 watts. And that's why power to weight is so important in cycling, because it's so powerful. Now, when I hear people say, well, how do you lose weight and keep your power? I love this question. This is only affecting pros. Like, there's stories like Travis McCabe where he lost 5 pounds and he lost a bunch of power and then he gained the 5 pounds back and he did better. If you're at 10% body fat or 8% body fat and you lose 5 pounds, it's going to affect you. But if you're sitting at 16, 17% body fat and you lose 10 pounds, that's what it was for me. It did affect my power. It affected my top end, my sprint, but my endurance, it didn't. And I really think that's only because I didn't have the weight to get behind the pedal. It will affect your power slightly, but if you have weight to lose, I wouldn't worry about losing power. This is only if you're super lean already. Any power that you do lose from a weight gain, if you need to lose weight, would be off of maybe some top end like your sprint. But what you would get in return to your overall watts per kilo would be so much better than anything that you lost on your top end. And that was my experience. I'm almost 40 years old and I fell in love with every aspect of the sport. I love the bikes, I love the clothes, I love the culture, I love the people, I love the social aspect. I loved riding my bike. I loved going around and seeing the new places on my bike. There is not one thing, except for cold weather, that I hated about cycling. I loved everything. And it just completely drew me in, and the numbers drew me in, and getting better drew me in, and the KOMs drew me in, and I was just overburdened. And it went from being fun to being, I gotta lose weight, I gotta get stronger, I wanna be faster. I think what we need to focus on, especially amateurs, it's different if you're making money off of doing this and you're a pro, but I think as amateurs, we need to focus on it being fun and it being healthy. Because once you lose a certain amount of weight and you're healthy, it doesn't matter. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really do. This is a different type of video than I usually do. I'm really speaking from my heart here. And I want to tell you guys how much I appreciate your viewership. Doing these videos and putting them out and seeing your comments and hearing what you guys have to say really means the world to me. I appreciate your viewership so much, more than you can imagine, or maybe you can't imagine. But if you found value out of this video, please consider subscribing. If you liked it, like it, and I'll see you guys on the next video.